everyone. I'm Presley Giles. I'm your host of Priority Value Investments, or PVI4U.org. This is over here across from me is Mike James. Go ahead.
Co-founder of PVI4U, and excited about this important podcast today.
Yes, it's actually an extremely positive follow-up on an episode that we did. I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
That's correct.
And we have with us today, and we're going to get started right out because we're running a little short on time today. So we're going to get started right out. We want to, Mike, I want you to do that. Why don't you just introduce everybody? And
we have the city council person by name of Malcolm Jackson, a very astute and intelligent young man who's very good with real estate, and decided to throw his ring into the politics because he has a lot of good things he wants to do to improve the community of Prairie View. And we also have an Emmy Award winner. He's gotten, I believe, 2 Emmys or 4
Two Emmys, 4 nominations.
4 nominations, man. Emmys. And two actually Emmys. Oh my gosh, I'm breathing to say
all because I went to Prairie View A&M University.
There we go.
There you
Prairie
go.
View. That's how we do it.
And the big man on the screen was my professor.
That's right.
Oh man,
that's right. And the mayor, Leverett, was his professor. And there's a motto they say: Prairie View produces productive people.
That's right.
And I must say, I agree with that. We're all connected to Prairie View around here, and we're
except
all,
me.
Well, yes, you're with Priority Values, so you are helping the community of Prairie View. So we're all, we all
We
got
don't
some
exclude
good things.
people. So we bring everybody in.
Yes. Okay, and so do you want me to say what we are?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we are a nonprofit organization. Our objective is to build affordable homes for all people, especially the veterans community. As a matter of fact, our main objective is to build a family veterans community by rehabbing houses in historic communities, taking vacant and abandoned properties, turning the liabilities into assets. Rent to home, we're trying to offer rent to home buyer opportunities, and home repair services for those choosing to stay in the community of Prairie View, and especially to veterans. And then we want young veterans coming out of the military and starting a family to create a family here in Prairie View A&M University.
Excellent.
All right. And we are very fortunate today to have a room of visions. There are so many visionaries on our show today. Last night when I was signing what I wanted to achieve from this meeting today, I decided to name it Episode 11, Teamwork, Not Chaos. Teamwork, not chaos. Okay. And so I'd like to introduce the great distinguished Mayor Ron Leverett. Say hello, Mayor Leverett.
Hello, audience and friends and supporters.
Okay. All right. And he's a newly elected mayor of the city of Prairie View, Texas. And he's going to do some great things. As I also said, Malcolm Jackson is also a newly elected city councilman, city of Prairie View, Texas. Mm-hmm. And Charles Williams, to my left, is a television podcast producer, a PV alumnus and contributor, and has, like I said before, has won 2 Emmys and 4 Emmy nominations.
Now, hold on now. Wait a minute now. Mm-hmm. Hold on now.
Yes.
We admire you.
Yes,
thank you.
We really do. We really do.
We admire everybody.
No. Because when I majored in television production,
that's right.
and so I know, and I appreciate what you've accomplished. But see, we've got 2 wonderful people here. Yes. We've got a gentleman here who's dedicated his life. Mr. Leverett. It's like he done some. What he's done for the city of Prairie View is absolutely amazing. Yes. It's absolutely amazing. Yes. What was it? He developed the police department, the fire department, utilities,
Yes.
everything. You know, like you know what kind of skills
That
it takes
Yes.
to accomplish that.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, but then the thing about it was, it
Took a lot of
wasn't as
skills.
if he did it by himself.
Wow.
But he knows how to work with other people to get
Yes.
things done.
And that's a good thing about it.
And I want to let you know how much I respect you.
Okay. Would you like to respond, Mayor
I'm
Leverett?
gonna have to keep going
Oh, okay. Keep
because
going.
we have a young gentleman over here
Yes.
who's
Malcolm
coming into the
Jackson
community, went to Prairie View A&M University,
Yes,
was
sir.
on the
Yes,
football
sir.
team.
came on the football team,
That's right,
came
can't
in,
forget that.
just started buying property in the city of Prairie View and the
Yes.
surrounding area. I mean, God dog it. The people. That's why we talked about visionaries.
Right.
You know, people who have visions.
Yes.
You know, when I was putting this together, and that's the truth. When I was putting this together, I was thinking, you know, it's like all these people with these wonderful ideas, and not only do they have the ideas, but they have that audacity to go
Right.
out there and make those things come true.
Make it happen. That is correct.
You know, that is an extremely
That's correct.
wonderful thing to have
yes,
come
to
from
have
your
it.
heart, because all that comes from your heart.
Yes.
That's not
is.
nobody. That's not anything. Prairie View don't teach that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's something that comes from They can
Come from the
teach you.
heart.
They can go to the books and so forth and so on. But the rest of that has to come from your heart.
Right. Yes.
Well, I always say, just like Obama said, audacity of hope.
Yes.
You know, you have to do it because your ancestors laid the pathway for you.
Uh-huh.
You're walking in footsteps. So they took arrows for us that we will never take.
Mm-hmm.
So it's our job now to set the pins up for the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
And if we
Yes.
stop doing that, we stop growing.
That's right.
That is
That's right.
correct.
And there's another thing about visionaries. You know, when you have a whole bunch of visionaries like you have here in this country.
Yes.
You know, that's our whole objective is to support people who have visions and ideas, the freedom to think for yourself, to
Right.
accomplish your own goals and set your own standards in life. That's one of the things. But when you have all those ideas that come together and people, you know, sometimes they clash. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
They clash. It's just like, you know, there's like my idea is better than your ideas and blah, 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 blah. But if we're able to do like Mr. Leverett there
Yes.
and learn how to work with other people and realize it's not all about you, it's about the team. That's why we decided to name today's show Teamwork.
Yes, that is correct. Teamwork. Teamwork
Right.
got the job done. And I like to ask the distinguished mayor, Ron Leverett, about his vision.
Yes.
What is your vision for the city of Prairie View, if you don't mind sharing that with us?
Well, my vision for the city of Prairie View is to continue to grow.
Yes.
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 Someone said earlier that we grow, we move forward on the shoulders of others.
That's correct.
I'm being not a native Texan, not a native. I didn't graduate from Prairie View A&M University, but I taught there for about 16 years
You were a
before I
professor
retired.
there at Prairie View, right?
I moved. My daughter graduated from. And again, when I moved here from Manhattan, Kansas to work at the university, I mean, I really saw a lot that I couldn't understand it. I could not understand how we had a city
Yeah.
with the HBCU that I highly respected because that football team used to just demolish us when I was in college. Lots of respect, Malcolm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Malcolm knows.
Each time I was expecting to see a city. When I didn't see a city, it prompted me to get involved in the wonder why and how could we have a predominantly black university at the time, a predominantly black city government. I just couldn't understand why we
Historically
couldn't
black.
all
Yeah.
together.
Yes.
I mean, it was a dream come true. And I know that we had and I have to use examples of the vision, because Charles, I think everybody, including everybody, Malcolm, everybody there
Yes.
knows that when my wife and I decided to build and we're going to stay here, I was able to go ahead and utilize the skills of the students at Prairie University to design this home that I'm sitting in right now.
Oh, wow.
Really
The
amazing.
idea is to bring the city and the university together.
Yes.
And I will still move forward with the help of Mike James, with Malcolm, with Charles, with all of the other
Yes.
former students who we should have the same vision. And when you have a vision, in my opinion, you gravitate to other people with visions. And those
That's
visions
true.
can come true. Charles is a very good example.
Yeah.
Charles can tell you the story of the one camera we had.
Oh, really?
We talk about that, but
Right.
I saw something in Charles years ago that
Yes.
he had some skills that he just needed to
Certainly
have a
does.
boost and some encouragement.
And people
And-
skills as well.
He's just one of them. I can't give him all the credit though, because
Right.
Oh, yeah.
homecoming, and we talk about old times, and I'm still encouraging young people to carry it to make your vision work.
Yes.
So I'm really looking forward. And one of the things that I really want to say, Malcolm, to you and Charles and Mike,
Yes.
and other graduates of Prairie, my other vision is to see graduates of A&M University to come back to the city
That's correct. That's another thing. Yeah.
and to build a city. That's my goal, my vision. And I think we can make that happen. We just have to encourage us old folks, the younger generation, to do that. And that's what we do.
Yeah, I must say that that's one of the reasons why I was a strong supporter of you, and when we campaigned, you showed me the solar power farm plans that you had, how you were going to have the university and the city maybe share solar power energy, and I like that. I like the fact that. That's one of my visions of Prairie View, is that why have the students learn, a skill like nursing or science or, AI or something, and there's no jobs here in Prairie View for them to stay and to build families, So I like what one of Ron's platforms is, bringing industries that maybe complement what the students are learning. I think I like the solar power thing that Ron showed me. I love the idea of maybe having a hospital come into the area so that the nurses, can stay and don't have to go far. Bring other industries, and Ron is a great lobbyist, and I'm sure he's really good with that, as we've already seen. And then another vision of Prairie View that I would like to honor the legacy of the African Americans that went before us, like their contributions. Maybe have a museum or something that could honor our ancestors. And I think that's two of my visions for Prairie View as well.
We don't want to forget Malcolm over there.
So what is your vision, Malcolm, for Prairie?
I mean, I got a few visions for Prairie View, and I like that, Mike. I've actually thought about that as far as a museum or say something like a rest stop.
Yes.
When you're going down 290, it's hard to actually pinpoint, but there's so much history just within Prairie View, especially
Correct.
when you drive up. A lot of people don't understand or even realize James Muse or who James Muse was, and it goes beyond just being an exit in Prairie View.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? So, again, visual, I see many things for Prairie View. I see a lot of progress coming. What I would like is for the people that have been there, there's always been a type of feeling to where we're stagnant, or the city of Prairie View is stagnant, because, the aesthetics of it isn't always the most beautiful. But for the people that have been in Prairie View it's time for them to get their fair share. It's
Yes,
time for them to get
correct.
with what they've worked so hard for. You know,
Yes.
Prairie View, although it is a retirement community, it's still, for the most part, a blue-collar community. You do have your professors and the people on the campus, but you got a lot of farmers and people that go to work every day or had to work every day. So it's time for those people to finally get their fair share and get what they've supposed to been getting and paying for and tax dollars coming out for all these years. I feel like now is a great opportunity for us to go ahead and advance them, and everybody is able to come to the table and reap the benefits of what we've been working so hard for and been expecting. So that's what I see.
And then I also had another vision. I don't want to hog up the microphone, but having the city of Prairie View as maybe, well, Charles said he worked on a piece with Black News Channel about Tulsa Wall Street. And I'm saying to myself, well, for African Americans, since Tulsa, Wall Street, and Oklahoma was destroyed, and Rosewood, of course, was destroyed, Prairie View could be African American economic empowerment city. You know, we could have a lot of things, make Prairie View like a Black Wall Street. You know, couple that with the museums and legacies honoring, you know, African Americans, you know, from the community, and maybe, you know, a statue of Rosa Parks or anything like that. So that's another vision I have. And Charles, did you want to say what you had about a vision?
You know, one of the things that I've been speaking to the mayor-elect about is that we make sure that Prairie View is not an exit. You graduate, you exit, you never come back. We want it to be a door where people graduate from the program, learn a skill set, and bring that skill set back to the community, whether it's in engineering, political science, communications, nursing, military officers. We can have a wonderful experience there. People don't have to come back and live if they don't want to, because the good thing about Prairie View attracts people from not only all over the country but all over the world, and we need to tap into those resources and say, hey, we want to honor you. You went here 4 or 5 years ago. You're on your own architectural firm now. Can we invite you back and honor you? Or you own your own communications company. Let's honor you, because if people feel like they don't have a vested interest in Prairie View, they're not going to give back. No matter how many letters you send them and say, hey, donate to the city or donate to the school. But if they feel like the school is still their biggest cheerleader, even after they graduate, I think it would be more prone for people to say, look, I want to be part of that community, even though I may live in Chicago, I may live in New York or somewhere else. So I just think we need to make sure we don't forget about graduates. And that's something the mayor and I was talking about, how we can actually pull those graduates into, whether it's a banquet, whether it's a once-a-year thing at homecoming, where the mayor talks to the alumni associations and when people come back from homecoming. So that's my thing about making sure we keep those connections. We don't break those connections off once we graduate and we walk across the stage.
Right.
And I would be remiss if I didn't also say that we also like to have a veterans community in Prairie View as well. You know, a community for veterans, you know, give back to our heroes.
Leave me something, Mike.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Leave
me something.
Did you want to talk about the veterans? Okay, go ahead.
All right. Now, speaking on that,
Yes.
okay, one of the things that we wanted to do as far as priority value or PVI4U.org, one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to set up a veterans community. And seeing what that will do is that will help bring in some revenue into the city of Prairie View. It'll help bring in some revenue. It'll bring in more people, and then with more people coming in and more revenue coming in, you'll be able to get, if it's starting out with nothing else. But for example, a 24-hour medical center, or you can speak to your small business development center and be able to start other little small businesses. You don't have to start out with something huge, but at least those little things that will be able to come in, because if you bring more people in, they're going to have more needs. Get you a supermarket. I'm not talking about, an H-E-B or anything like that. Prairie View may not be able to cover that at this point. But if you can just get a small store, where other than the dollar store, the Dollar General or whatever, you can do it. We can do better than that. I know we can. No, I'm not trying to be, funny or anything like that. I mean, I know we can. You got
Yes.
people graduating just like Charles said. You got all these graduates that have intelligence and everything to offer, all the skills. You've given them all the skills that it takes to build up that community.
That is correct.
But the thing about it is, when I come from a small town, I come from a small town of Yoakum, Texas, and I tell you, when I got that diploma, I didn't wait. I didn't wait until fall, to summer, to go to college in the fall. I left in the summertime because I wanted to get the heck out of that small town. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wanted to get the heck out of it. There was nothing there for me. And so you got to have something there for those young people to want to stay.
Yeah.
You got to have something to offer them. You got to be able to, and let them say, well, we're offering you a business. Talk to some franchise people. So say we can start some franchisers in the community. We can do that. We can do something here for these young people to make them want to stay. And as far as the veterans community coming in, that's gonna you got things that they bring into the community as well.
Correct.
And they bring their skills in. That they've learned in the military. They bring their families in. They're looking for a safe environment. They want to be able to say, well, hey, I want to start a business in as far as fixing furniture or something like that.
Yeah.
I want to start a furniture store. So it's like, well, hey, we can do that for you here. We'll talk to Mr. Leverett. We'll get what we can do. Get you some property. We'll help you. He'll help you go down there to the Small Business Development Center, and we can walk you through it.
Right. Yeah.
And that's another thing. It's not just about when we were starting this business right here.
Yes.
We went to Small Business Development Center. The woman was totally overwhelmed, and I'm not angry at her, but she's overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She had papers all scattered all over her desk, and she was respectful enough to try and talk to us and tell us a little bit about, what she could what she could do to help us. But she didn't really have the time to sit down and do that. And I left feeling a little bad for her.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I left feeling a little bad for her because it's so much. People are bringing things to her, but at the same time, she needs some help. And so things like that. You could do that, but you have to be able to have the people there, not just the vision, but have the resources there to be able to help those people.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I also wanted to add too, back in the 80s when we were there, we learned how to be activists. We learned how to engage with the city or with the school and say what we wanted. Because a lot of people look around campus now and see all those shiny buildings. But when I was there in the 80s, none of those buildings existed.
Yeah.
But we voiced things, we said things, we asked for what we wanted. It may have taken a few years, but those things are there now. And I'm sure the mayor or the council, they don't have a problem with someone approaching them saying, what are we doing about X, Y, and Z? Because they need to hear ideas too. They don't know everything. So somebody may be in their community that may need something. They come to council and say, hey, can you present this? And I think sometimes we've allowed our next generation to say nothing. All they do is sit in a corner and complain. But if you don't talk to the right people, it's not going to help.
But now I'm going to have to correct you a little bit on that.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Williams, because you just had a young man in office. Okay. Now he made some mistakes. He may have made some mistakes, but one of the things that I did see and I did observe was he spoke to those students, and those students spoke to him. You know what I'm saying? He made some mistakes, but he did provide an ear for them to listen to. I'm not up to date on all the political stuff and things, what happened and what things didn't happen and all that kind of stuff like that. But that was one of the things that I did see, is that he did speak to that.
But did it
group.
fall on deaf ears? You can,
It may. I don't know.
All right, let's hear Ron. What you say, Ron?
Let me dive in for a minute, right, for where you are. I think I hear you saying, and that's where even I spoke, and I speak to young people. One thing that's important to stay in touch and to be among the students, and that's I'm fortunate to be able to have had the opportunity and have the opportunity to do that.
Oh, good.
Because one of the things that being in technology, it gives you an opportunity to reach out with football, basketball, all the different areas, especially when you're behind the camera.
Yeah.
You understanding what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
When
That's
you
true.
the other phase of it is observing and trying to look at the talent that you have and putting the prospective talent that you have that understand the medium, to understand. We talk about visions. We all have visions, but we have to figure out how to put it all together, bring the right people to
Yes.
the table, understanding that we all have skills, but I don't have it all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to know that I'm surrounded by Charles and by Malcolm, Mike James, and you. I mean, because I can't do it. I don't know how to do all of that stuff, but I do know that
Get the people.
a lot of things that we can do, just the idea that we have it, we can spring that idea on somebody in the group.
Yes.
We can actually put A plus B and make C, or make it. But everybody at the table need to bring something to the table, but and it needs to make sense. One of the problems that I find that we have is we have ideas, but we don't know how to put it together. We don't know how to present proposals, that will sell. I mean, because other people put proposals together that will sell. They know how to make it, who to sell it to. Oftentimes we have good ideas, but we just don't know how to bring the right people the right people together. Even the idea right now, we talked about team. It took a team to put together to assemble the people that we see that I'm looking at, including myself on this podcast. So that has a value. Then we need to figure out how to make that value go to another level. Just putting it on a screen for us to just be talking, that really doesn't have a lot of value. I mean, it's okay, just so we can be communicating, but we need to take this to another level. One of the things that I've already talked to Charles about, I plan to promote the city of Prairie View.
Yes.
That has never been promoted before, because all of the things that we have been talking about, but nowhere out there in the real world understand that we have people in the city who understand real estate, politics, the whole deal. I mean, how to put it together, how to sell it, how to make it work. We have it. We just have not taken advantage of it to make it work in the real world. And Prairie View is going, I'm anticipating that Prairie View in a short period of time, utilizing the strengths of the people that are in Prairie View and outside of Prairie View to come together with the right people, and we're going to make something happen.
Yes, I believe we will.
A shining light on the hill.
That's right.
That's right.
Thank you. That's a good,
Shine like
Now,
the
now,
hill.
now, Mr. Mayor, I got a question for you. Now let's say a young company, a young nonprofit. Let's say name is Priority Value Investments. just throw that name out there.
Okay.
We come to you and say we have these wonderful ideas, things that we'd like to do. We have a vision of what we'd like to see maybe in 5 years accomplished. We'd like to see homes built in Prairie View there for the veterans community. We're not talking about little shacks. We're talking about 2 and 3 bedroom houses built from the ground up that are brand new, that veterans will be able to get into. If they don't have the credit, we have rent to own opportunities. We have for people who have been living in Prairie View for decades. Maybe their roof is leaking. Maybe their pipes are leaking. Maybe there's a floor that they need, or maybe they're disabled now and they're having trouble getting in and out of their home. That's those are some of the services that we're able to offer. And we tell you we want to do this in Prairie View because our co-owner there, Mike James, is insistent He's determined. He's absolutely determined. He's pushing me. I said, no, we can go to Katy. We can go to there, and then we can get a lot more. And he's no Prairie View.
Yes, Prairie View.
Okay,
yes.
let me put you on notice right now.
Okay.
You mentioned military, right?
Right.
Okay. There's a gentleman. I don't mind calling this gentleman a name,
Okay.
and his name is Philip Stramler.
Oh, okay.
Philip Stramler graduated from Prairie View.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I've spoken with him.
I think we
Okay,
have
well,
him.
he has an
Yes.
organization called iHoot. Are you familiar?
I'm familiar. You told me. Actually, I've contacted him. I spoke
Yes.
to him by phone, and I tried to get him here today, but he wasn't able to make it.
Yeah, Philip
Okay.
wasn't able to make it today, but he's part of our.
Graduated. He was in the office at Prairie View in the Marine. He was in the Marine division, and he has an organization. At one time, he was involved with the disabled veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
He started his own organization. 501c3 is doing very well.
Okay.
He and I have traveled around doing and talking about the same thing. So guess what? Why not Prairie View?
Yes. Why not?
So that's the
do it.
start.
Okay.
The start is taking a vision, putting together with the people that are capable. You see, we're in good times right now because I don't know where all of the money is that we talk about, and we see that the president is released recently to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But a lot of that money is capable of flowing down to a smaller place as Prairie View.
Yeah.
If we have a plan
Mm-hmm.
Right.
with other cities and other villages or what have you,
Right.
I'm sure that with the military background that Prairie View A&M University has,
Yes.
within the Texas A&M system, it's a military program. When I got to Prairie View, I didn't realize how strong the ROTC was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
Military background. So I'm sure, I feel very confident that based on that vision or that, what you mentioned about housing for veterans, why not? And then it's a matter of putting the pieces together, sticking to it, staying focused in that area, whoever's in that area, Mike,
Yeah.
if that's your,
Yeah.
focus.
I mean, yes, I'll stay focused.
All right.
Yes, of course.
That's
Of
the
course.
first start. Now I always do it like, I like to do it like this. That's done. What's next?
Okay.
Give me something hard to do.
Well, one of the things that the mayor, with his vision, talked about me being in communications. How do we literally put Prairie View on the map? Spotlighting residents, spotlighting things that are being done in the community. And that should be done on a weekly basis, if not every day. We want to make sure we value the people who
That's
are
why
living
we
in the
got you,
community.
Charles.
And that's what we want to do.
Yeah, that's why we got Charles with us. We're gonna make this
Well,
happen.
well, you know,
Yes, we're gonna make this happen.
PVI4U
Yes,
is a wonderful, wonderful podcast.
that's
All we need is a little bit of support.
yes.
Well,
we
you
can
Wonderful
do
podcast.
it.
You welcome here. You're welcome here
Yeah,
anytime.
and we could definitely and these things can be accomplished too. All right, so now should I talk about how tax donations can be used for?
Yes. Why don't you go ahead and
Okay, well-
go ahead and talk about that because then we want to get into the crowdfunding.
Okay. Yes. Well, people can donate to PVI4U services and money and or property, and they also the positive impact of home donations. As a donor, you generally receive a tax deduction equal to the fair market value of the property, and that deduction may be carried forward for 5 years. You also avoid paying the capital gains tax that would otherwise accrue because of the sale of the property. The IRA charitable rollover offers tax benefits for those that qualify.
Now, what does all that stuff means? Like,
Well-
you ever see that? You ever see the movie? What is it? Philadelphia.
Okay.
The movie Philadelphia. Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Okay.
What does that mean?
People can donate. They can use their life insurance. They can donate property. They can, money and services and property to PVI that could help us as well, and then we can further our goals that way. And remember now, Jake Brown of North Mutual is
Northwestern Mutual.
Northwestern Mutual. He's more of an expert on it, and of course, he was in our other podcast that people can refer to, and he has a better grip on all these other ways that donating to us benefits the donor. So we just make sure the investors maintain proper documentation of their contributions, and they can lessen their tax burden by donating to PVI for as well. Okay.
So what exactly would happen? Let's say that they wanted to donate. They would go to their website, they would hit donate, and then what happens then?
Depending on what they're donating, if they're donating art or donating property and stuff like that, we gladly accept it, and then we would explain to them their benefits of donating as well.
But we have someone that we can go to be able to help not only them but ourselves.
That's correct.
With making sure that all that paperwork is done correctly, and we're able to follow up and with
Right.
somebody on that, because that's going to be real sensitive, with some things depending on what they're donating, especially when it comes to property or something like that. Okay. Now, one of the things that we want to get to, and I want to speak to you, but I'm going to come back to you. Okay, so be prepared. We have a crowdfunding
Yes, we do.
program that's coming up that we're involved with right now, and it starts actually on the 15th. That's Sunday, right?
That is
Starts on a
correct.
Sunday, and we're starting. And our goal is to raise at least our goal is to raise 15,000.
Okay.
That's our goal.
I think
Okay.
we can do that.
Okay. And so we're asking people, everyone here, to get your go to our funding page. I think I sent a copy to everybody. I've sent a lot of them out there. And so I think I sent that information to everybody here. We're trying to reach that, and you give what you can give, and then tell your friends, tell somebody that
Yes.
somebody's in the mayor's office, tell somebody up there in New York. Tell them that, hey, look, there's this wonderful thing going on down there in Texas regarding Prairie View A&M University, or at least the city of Prairie View. You go to your district. You tell them, say, hey, I'm the new guy.
Malcolm Jackson.
Here's what we can do for to help this program get off the ground. Because see, if we're not able to get off the ground, all we have is a vision. You know what I'm saying? It'll never become a reality.
But
Right.
we're
Well,
we're
can
gonna
I
make
throw
it
something
reality.
in?
Yes,
Let me
Go ahead.
One of the things I want to throw in is this. We are talking about, Malcolm and I, right, specifically right now,
Oh.
we are talking about developing a city. We're not talking about Prairie View A&M University.
That's correct.
We're
I
talking
agree.
about
A city. Yes.
that's well underserved.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
our mission, along with the rest of the council members and our associates, will be focusing in on my administration,
Yes.
our administration, focusing on developing a city
That's
that
correct.
we all would be glad to come back to invest in,
Yeah.
because Prairie View is a city. The university is a university. They are doing very well. I applaud the university and the move taken. But
Yeah.
our mission, I was elected by the people of the city of Prairie View
That is correct.
to help move a city. The city should accommodate the needs of the university and its citizens.
Yes.
Citizens pay taxes. Our water system, our sewer system, it has to be set up in such a way that it serves the taxpayer citizens of the city of Prairie View. Prairie View A&M University, in terms of it's a government entity like the city.
Yeah.
So the tax is totally different. So obviously we want to accommodate everything that we can to the university, but the university sits inside of the city of Prairie View.
Yes.
So our
That's true.
mission is to create the needs of the citizens of the city of Prairie View, which include the students, faculty, staff, everybody else that we can think of, because the growth is moving west.
Yeah.
290 quarter is moving fast.
It is.
We were going to have to do some things really, really fast to be in step
Yeah.
with what is
Agreed.
going on in this westward movement of the quarter of 290.
Yeah, we're about to. I feel that in a couple of years we're going to be, if we don't do anything, we'll be swallowed up by the surrounding areas, because Houston is coming this way. Yes.
And that's one of the things I spoke with the mayor about. I think we spoke about this yesterday. How do we empower city council? How do we empower the mayor? We need to make sure we do profile pieces on the council where people will know who they are. Give
Let's do
Malcolm
that.
power, give the mayor power. People say, no, that's my council person who can help me. Because if you don't know who they are, how do you even know to turn to them to ask for anything? So we want to, one of the early things that we want to do is start doing these profile pieces.
Oh yes.
And those
Oh,
things
yes.
are going to roll on. I don't think I'm too early to say this, Mayor. Shut me up if you
Okay.
will. We want to try to establish a channel, a TV local channel in the Prairie View area, whether it's online, because, broadcast television is basically, that's a relic of the past. So when you create a digital channel, it's available worldwide, so anybody can tune into. So that's one of the things that I'm planning to try to have ready and operational by the time all the returning students, alumni
Yes.
get back for homecoming, where we can make a big announcement. I want the mayor and I want the council there
Yes.
cutting ribbons and saying, this is what we have
Oh,
now to profile those things on.
I'm ready to roll up my sleeves.
Yeah.
I am. I hear you.
Well, I'm hoping we'll get an opportunity to work with you. That's our goal. is
You
to
know
be
you
able to
will.
work with you.
Oh,
This
yes,
is
of course.
PVI for you.
Yeah, Mr. PVI.
That's great.
This might be our first shot.
Yes.
Mike?
That's correct. I feel so empowered and so excited. I just can't wait to start even more, do more things.
Now, I want to make sure that we complete what I had started here. Is to make sure that we get what we need to be able to continue to function.
Okay.
We need strong, effective board memberships.
Yes.
We need supportive.
Angel investors.
We need angel investors.
Yes, we do. We do need angel investors. Yes. Yes.
We need donors and sponsors for the program. We need grant writers because I do okay, but I'm certainly not a grant writer. That's a special talent.
That's a special skill.
And so fundraising ideas, so forth and so on. We need all those wonderful things. And one of the things that you touched on, I'm not sure who it was that mentioned it, but and it might have been you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
But I had in my notes here that we mentioned was the Obama lesson. Is what I call it. Is when Obama won, and everybody was out cheering, and how wonderful the world was. The world was going to change and so forth. But then that next election came along. You know what I'm saying? Right behind, 2 years after, and then the people who had worked so hard to get him to the office thought their work was done.
Oh.
And they didn't show up to the polls.
Oh. We got
And so we want to make sure that we're able to follow up.
Yes.
All those people who voted for you and said, this is the man we want to go to, this is one we have confidence in, this is the one we believe in, we want to make sure that we provide you the support
Yes.
that you need to keep on doing the work we know you can do.
Yes.
We need that. We need that support. We need to be able to say, that it's not just about you. Just like you say yourself, you can't do it all by yourself. You need that supportive team, and we want to make sure that you have that supportive team. And I just wanted to get that in, and then I wanted to come back over here to my young man here, Malcolm Jackson. And I want to let you know how proud I am of you.
Appreciate you.
Oh, yes.
Proud of you, my friend. You know, and tell us about what you're going to do. What you're about now that you're in office, and
I mean, again, I'm excited to get started. You know, we got a lot of ideas, a lot of stuff we've been talking about, a lot of ideas myself that have been going over. Again, I'm just looking to get to working with the citizens of Prairie View, understand some of their concerns, some of the problems that are going on further, so that they may actually receive the help or the type of response they've been looking for. You know, for the longest, like again, I touched on it earlier. People have been working in Prairie View forever, and Prairie View should be a lot further along than where we are.
Yeah.
Through no fault of our own, are we like that? There are other entities and everything playing against us. However, now is an opportunity for us to get to the table, for us to be at the table, and for us to receive what we should have been receiving. Again, with like Mayor Leverett touched on. The expansion from Houston is moving westward, up 290, up the corridor. Prairie View is now what you would consider greater Houston area. It's always been greater Houston area, but it is now considered greater Houston area all the way till you get to Brenham. And so with that being said, it's time for Prairie View to evolve into 2022, really 2025, 2030, because you know they've already have a game plan. The county has a game plan for what they intend on doing, and we shouldn't be left behind. You know, TxDOT has been coming in. They're trying to establish new feeder roads and other roads. And I feel like we as Prairie View, we need the leadership. And I feel like Brother Leverett, again, you got to look at his impact just within Prairie View. This man was elected 40 years ago, 30 years ago, and then again now. So for him to have that type of input and outreach to where people would still rely and trust him 40, 50 years later, you got to understand that really means something. So he really had an impact and an influence. And so now with it being a new generation, new time, we got new technology. Now I believe it's the time for us to be able to turn the page, turn the channel. Let's progress. Let's use what we have. Let's continue to find and get more and progress further along as a city to where we aren't just overthought or where people just pass over us. You get what I'm saying? I know Mike has made mention of this before, and I put a little bit of thought into it. I would love to. Prairie View is the only exit to where it's an overpass and not an underpass.
Yeah, wow.
Where Prairie View is the only exit. Every other exit, you got to go over and you get to see the town. Prairie View, you got to drive under it. So with that being said, other exits that are like that are usually rest stops. And Mike often makes mention about having a museum and all the rest. With Prairie View being so historical, it would be a great, just in my opinion, it would be great to have something like a rest stop with historical monuments or history, just like they do at other rest stops when you drive up throughout the country. But that's just an idea, just because the way our exit is set up as opposed to everybody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that's just, and that the state should be paying for it. I feel like now we finally have the people in position to follow through with what we should have been getting.
Right.
You know, as far as the county and the state that should have been helping or should have been pitching in and contributing and not just leaving it up to the city. The city is only so big, we're limited as far as our resources, as far as economically. But there are other situations to where we should have already expanded. When we let these developments come in with these new apartment buildings, you know, we caught the short end of the deal when we just let them build the apartments, half done, cheap work, and then it looks terrible 5-10 years later, and the city got nothing out of it. We got no new infrastructure, you know, we got no new roads, and you know, I go to these county meetings, they cut a deal with apartments or development. Not only does the development come in, build nice houses or nice apartment, townhome looking apartments, but they also improve the streets, the access roads, and everything else. So now the city benefits or the county benefits as opposed to just the property owner or the developer. And so I believe, you know, with Brother Leverett being in and we got some proper representation, we can start getting all that input and we can get more for the city to gain as opposed to just letting everybody else win off of us.
Yes. I believe I have to second everything Malcolm said. And we can do this and go forward because that's what we want to do. We want to go forward.
Okay, we need to wrap this puppy up.
Okay.
Okay. This whole thing started with a series of mishaps that co-founder Mac James, a former Marine, experienced the first time he got into real estate.
Yeah,
But I've heard him say several times, I want to turn sour lemons into lemonade.
That's correct.
Okay, that's what
go
inspired
forward.
the Priority Value organization. That's what inspired us. That's where
Yes.
it all started. And so, but we need your support.
Yes, to go forward.
We need your support. We need your, we need you. We need your vision. We need,
Everybody.
we need you to listen, to our ideas, and we appreciate it when you do. We need your voice, and once again, we need your support. And I want to thank you for listening today. We want to thank our host, Mayor Leverett.
Mayor Leverett, thank you so much, Mayor Leverett. We appreciate you.
And we want to thank.
like-
Go ahead.
Again, I would like to thank everybody here at the table today for supporting me. I mean, I felt the support, and I really to all of the listeners today that I would do with the support with the continued support,
Yes,
support,
of course.
because we are developing a strong team, and I'm telling you, when the team understands the visions of each other's visions, and we take the time to explain our vision and not just having individual vision
Right.
without explanation, I think that's when we start to make strides and start doing the thing that necessary to makes visions work.
That's correct.
So again, I want to close with that by saying I really appreciated everybody's input, and even though we're talking about a narrow margin, it's all about winning.
That's
and moving.
correct. And we appreciate you, Mayor Leverett. And we also appreciate Malcolm Jackson, the newly elected city councilman.
And man, appreciate y'all.
Oh, we definitely appreciate you. And of course, we definitely appreciate Charles Williams,
Appreciate
Mr.
it.
Emmy
Thank you.
guy. The guy's got these Emmys and everything. He's really going to put us on the map with all his technical wizardry and stuff.
Well, I'm a collaborator. I believe in people working together. I
Yes.
don't believe anybody can do everything by themselves. We all come together and do what we need to do.
No man is an island. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we're gonna, Mike. I want to thank you.
Oh, I want to thank
for
you
being
too,
here,
Presley.
And we're gonna tie this puppy up
Wrap
and
it up.
get the heck out of here. And I want to thank everybody for listening and for viewing.
Okay.
Go to support our story.
That's correct.
That's where we're doing our crowdfunding. Support our story. PVI4U.org forward.
Forward.
PVI4U.org forward. Okay? All right. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much, and you have. We'll see you next week.